I was standing completely alone at 5,636 meters, the highest point in Mexico. And it was the loudest place I've ever been. Not because of the wind, and not because of the altitude, because my son had turned around 300 meters below. It was his decision, and it was the right one. And suddenly, it was just me, the mountain, and everything I thought I knew about myself. We had been awake since midnight at 4,200 meters. When we stepped out of our tent, it was cold, but not really uncomfortable. The fire in the stove and the hot coffee brought us on operating temperature. There was a calmness in the excitement that spread among the group. We packed our stuff and got ready. We didn't have to speak a lot. Everything went like clockwork. Then we went out into the night. 40 minutes by jeep over volcanic rock. From there, we started walking. The stars above us, the spot of the headlamp ahead of us. Aside that, only darkness. The mountain was everything that mattered in these moments. It created space for the things that we usually don't have time for. The air got thinner with every step. The altitude hit with a headache pressing from the inside. My thoughts were slowing down. The sharp, analytical mind I rely on every day, it just dissolved in the thin air and made space for the body to take control. Higher up, the terrain changed. Loose rock, steep exposure. The mental chatter that normally runs in the background, the planning, the self-monitoring, the internal commentary goes quiet. Because it has to. The terrain doesn't allow it. Breathe, step, breathe, step. The mountain doesn't care what you think about it. It doesn't adjust to your preferences. It doesn't offer you an easier version of itself. And in that refusal, something in me started to settle. At 5,300 meters we had a break. The sun was up already. This was our final crossroad. The last point of return. One of the guides went down from here with a part of the group that didn't feel ready yet for the summit. My son felt the headache. He looked at what was still ahead, looked at me, and said quietly, "Dad, I'm also turning around here." Not because he couldn't have pushed further, but because he was honest with himself in a moment where most men would have let pride take over. I told him I was proud of him. Then I watched him start the descent. And I continued with the remaining group. There are things between a father and son that no conversation can teach. He didn't need me to explain fear or difficulty. He needed to watch me decide anyway. That moment hit me harder than the altitude. That was why we came here. And this decision taught him something he won't learn in school. The last 300 meters were quiet in a way I've rarely experienced. No inner commentary, no stories, no performance. Just breathe, step, breathe, step. The mountain didn't care about my plans, my ideas, or my ego. It only asked one thing. Are you still here? And for the first time in a long time, I was. 5,636 meters. I won't describe it as a triumph. That's not what it felt like. For years I had seen Pico de Orizaba from the distance and comfort of my house. Looking down from a mountain is very different than seeing it from afar. I didn't only change my perspective on the mountain. The descent was almost running. Long, fast strides downhill, the body suddenly light after hours of grinding upward effort. Something about that speed felt like the right ending. Not a slow, reflective walk down, a release. The way I came back down that mountain was not the same how I went up. I was tested and had held. That changes you in a way that is quiet but permanent. Coming down, I kept thinking about the silence. For hours I didn't reach for my phone. No checking of messages or news. That automatic reach for something that wasn't there disappeared. And I didn't miss it. That wasn't withdrawal. It was recognition. In my daily life, I'd been feeding something that was never actually hungry. Just trained to ask. And for a few hours at an extinct volcano, I'd stopped feeding it. And that opened space for something more intensive. Nothing dramatic. The simple fact of being somewhere. Fully. With no need to be anything else. The loudest place I've ever been was the silence at 5,636 meters.